Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach. I'm the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something with you. Let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of that coffin. You tried lifting the lid, but the enormous weight upon the lid prevents you from opening the lid. You try to bang on the lid, but that isn't happening because there is no way that someone is going to dig their way down towards you right now. You just think you're going to die. Usually you don't think about death when you're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to defeat an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, that's right, you, did it ever cross your mind while you're abusing drugs and alcohol that you might overdose and take something away that God had given you called life? With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be like the person that I just talked about that went to their grave without getting help. Instead, pick up the phone and call me at 844-405-HELP, and I promise I will help you take your life back before your life is gone. Coping with the loss of a loved one. Today we're going to have Gloria Jean Roberts calling in the second segment of this episode, and she's going to talk about losing her mother most recently. As you all know, I lost my mother May 31st, 2016, very tragically killed by a gentleman driving a pickup truck, and she was killed. Gloria's mom was older, and she died also December, I think it was 27th to 28th. Gloria will fill you in on that. But let's talk about coping with the loss of your loved one. Coping with the loss of a close friend or even a family member may be one of the hardest challenges all of us have to face. When we lose a spouse, sibling, parent, our grief can be particularly intense. Loss is understood as a natural part of life, but we can still overcome by shock and confusion, leading to prolonged periods of sadness or depression. The sadness typically diminishes in intensity at the time of passing, but grieving is an important process in order to overcome these feelings and continue to embrace the time you had with your loved one. Everyone reacts differently to death and employs personal coping mechanisms for grief. Research shows that most people can recover from loss on their own through passage of time if they have social support and healthy habits. It may take months or a year or even years. I'm approaching 9 months and I'm still not over it. There is no normal time period for someone to grieve. Everyone grieves differently. Don't expect to pass through phases of grief either. As new research suggests, most people do not go through stages as progressive steps. If your relationship with the deceased was difficult, this will also add another dimension to the grieving process. It may take some time and thought before you're able to look back on a relationship and adjust to the loss. Human beings are naturally resilient, my friends, considering most of us can endure loss and continue on with our own lives. But some people may struggle with grief for longer periods of time and feel unable to carry out our daily activities. Those with severe grief may be experiencing complicated grief at all times. These individuals could benefit from the help of a psychologist or another licensed mental health professional with a specialization dealing with grief. One important factor I've learned is to move on with life. Mourning the loss of a close friend or relative takes time. We all agree on that. But research tells us that it can be also catalytic for a renewed sense of meaning that offers purpose and direction to life itself. Grieving individuals may find it useful to use some sort of following strategies to help come to terms with their loss. Talk about the death of your loved one with friends and colleagues in order to understand what happened, and remember your friend or your family member while you're talking. Denying the death is an easy way to isolate yourself and will frustrate your support system in the process. Accept your feelings. People experience all kinds of emotions after the death of someone close. Sadness, anger, frustration, even exhaustions are all normal behaviors. Take care of yourself and your family. Eating well, exercise, and getting plenty of rest will help us get through each day and move forward. Reach out to and help others dealing with loss also. Helping others has added a benefit of making you feel better as well. Sharing stories of the deceased can help everyone cope with the loss. Remember and celebrate the lives of your loved ones. Possibilities include donating to a favorite charity of the deceased, framing photos of fun times, passing on a family name to a baby, or planting a garden in the memory of your loved one. What you choose is up to you, as long as it allows you to honor the unique relationship in the ways that feels right to you. If you feel stuck or overwhelmed by your emotions, it may be helpful to talk to a licensed psychologist or a mental health professional who can help you cope with the feelings that you're experiencing and find ways to get back on track. How can psychologists really help? Psychologists are trained to help people better handle fear, guilt, or anxiety that could be associated with the death of a loved one. If you need help with your grief or managing a loss, consult with a psychologist or another licensed mental professional. Psychologists or psychiatrists can help people build their resilience and develop strategies to get through their sadness daily. Practicing psychologists use a variety of evidence-based treatments, most commonly psychotherapy, to help people improve their lives. Psychologists who have doctoral degrees receive one of the highest levels of education of any health care professionals. Use the psychologist locator to find psychologists in your area by Googling it. Remember, we all grieve in different ways. And remember, my story about my mother that you've heard over and over, and when you hear Gloria Jean Roberts call in about how she just recently went through a tough time losing her mom. It was so sudden. But together, you, myself, Gloria, we all can come together by talking about it. Because I guarantee you, each and every one of you out there, someone has lost someone that they love dearly. Talk about it. Reach to God. Remember, when you speak to God, God listens and God answers prayers. So start today and reach to God. After this brief break, Gloria Jean Roberts will call in and we will go and see what she has to say about how to deal with grieving for a loss of a loved one. I'll be right back.